Okay. Let's talk about the the initial decision to put the mail-in ballot drop box out. Obviously, there was only one, right? There's only one ever in Lancaster County, correct? Just the one here at the building.
That's correct.
What led you to put it out in the first place? And then, since you had concerns initially, and then what led you to say, well, we want to take that away?
So back in 2020, as you know, with the pandemic being what it was and not knowing what was going to happen next with shutdowns and orders with respect to how we are to go about our daily lives and business, our elections director at that time said, or they'd like to have a drop box here at the building. It was never an idea to put drop boxes all around. The idea is here's the Board of Elections on the first floor. Let's have a place, a secure place, where people can drop their ballot off as a matter of convenience for people who are concerned about going to the poll or being in a group of other people because of the pandemic at the time and being concerned about the idea of voting and how that would happen. And also for staff, because there were, remember, tens of thousands at that time. We're talking for the general election, for instance, there were 90,000 mail ballots that were 100,000 requested, 90,000 came in. So the election director came in and said, I'd like to put a drop box in. And my idea is to put it, like Commissioner Parsons said, right there by the sheriff's station so the sheriffs can watch it. And then there's cameras on it. So we thought, okay. We never actually took a vote on that because it was an administrative matter as far as we're concerned. We were in agreement that as long as what you're saying is the case, we could see that happen at least for that time period. Excuse me. Well, fast forward to now, we don't have to worry about any of those issues anymore that were of a concern back then. On top of that, as Commissioner Parsons said, you had the governor sort of signaling that this is okay, which is a huge integrity issue. We can get into that a little bit more if you want. But another thing that happened is we're getting more and more short-staffed, and the idea of having our sheriffs having an extra eye on that box, given the other duties, and our staff at the Board of Elections have other duties, to have someone there constantly in a drop box when the office is really literally 30 yards away, with that person who's keeping an eye on people coming in to drop the ballot off is doing other work. We just don't simply have enough staff to watch a drop box that somebody drops something off every few minutes, whatever. So from all those perspectives, it was brought up by our elections director recently, the idea of that we still need the drop box. And we all weighed in, and two of us said, no, it's not necessary anymore. And, go ahead and take it away.
When did that happen? You took it away the first time? Because we'll talk about the ACLU.
Well, it never went out this time. It never went out this election cycle.
Okay.
So that's important to know. But never, in this election cycle, it was never put out.
We had talked about it at a couple of different Board of Elections meetings. We had talked about it just in a general way. And then actually, one meeting, the public raised the issue, and we answered the public and, basically said, okay, Board, where are you on this issue? And then, so it was never actually brought out this election cycle.
So it wasn't out on the morning of May 16th?
That's correct.
Okay. Because I read somewhere that said it was removed.
Now, there's a little confusion on that because it seemed like the judge was restoring the status quo. In our view, the status quo was, it wasn't out, so the status quo was it's not being out.
Okay. So it didn't come out at all this election season?
Only until the preliminary injunction happened. We had to put it out. The preliminary ruling came down on Friday, and so we were required to comply with the order to put it out.
Okay.
We already had, this is another issue, we already had scheduled a Board of Elections meeting for Monday. That's scheduled every year. We have to have a Board of Elections meeting before the primary, the Monday before the primary. So we'd already advertised that meeting back in December of the previous year. So
Okay.
it wasn't like we just come up with a meeting to have a meeting to deal with the Dropbox. We had a meeting scheduled.
Sure.
The order came down. We were able to put the matter on the agenda for that upcoming meeting.
So I just want to make sure I understand. Just bear with me here. So you didn't put out the Dropbox leading up to the primary election, but then when the injunction came down from the court, you did put it out there, and it was physically out there in the county building.
Correct.
And then when was it removed?
As soon as we had the meeting and voted on it.
Okay. So about how long was it out there?
Basically, part of Friday and then Saturday and Sunday. I think we had some hours
On Saturday.
that had already been planned on Saturday for people to be able to drop off their ballots. And the other piece is, so even before Act 77, if you had an absentee ballot, you could come into the County Board of Elections and turn in your ballot instead of mailing it in. You could either mail it in or come in. And so that hasn't really changed, other than the amount of ballots is much, much greater than it used to be.
Okay.